What'd you do wrong?
And I took something that wasn't mine, and I made somebody else like be in a crisis because of a bad decision that I made.
Was that all you did wrong?
Nah, I broke laws. I
What?
broke laws too, armed robbery, and
By doing what?
using drugs.
Tell me about the armed robbery. What is it you did in the armed robbery? What was the threat of violence that you used?
To be honest with you, I took a bag that wasn't mine and went and opened the door. I thought, I can't really say what I thought, to be honest. I just knew it wasn't right. My time being incarcerated in the jail, you know.
He goes the gun.
Okay. Yeah, just a bad decision that I did to put a gun up on me and walk with it and take something that wasn't mine from someone. At the end of the day, she didn't deserve what she did, what happened to her. You know, I can say I apologize 1,000 times, say I'm sorry 1,000 times.
That doesn't constitute aggravated robbery.
What did you do with the gun?
I pointed it at her and I took a bag and I walked to the corner and the cops put up on me.
Your Honor.
Pointed what at them?
A 9mm.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would point out, I know that this, again, doesn't negate what he did, but it was noted in the officer's report that there was no gun or no bullet in the chamber and it had not been ready to fire.
My experience has been with victims, after you commit a crime and then you pull out a weapon and point it at them, they think they're about to die. And they live with that the rest of their life. Later on, if people say, well, it wasn't loaded with bullets, it doesn't make a bit of difference. At that point in time, they think that their life is a clock's tick away from death. And they're no longer in control of their life, but a stranger is. And you don't have any right to be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You are not in control of your own life, much less being reckless with other people's. And how do you take back and undo that horror that they live with the rest of their life? You can't.
Okay.
You shouldn't have done it in the first place. But you know phencyclidine is bad, and you're a PCP user. Phencyclidine, embalming fluid for animals. You really think that's healthy to put embalming fluid used for animals, embalming animals? Everybody knows what PCP does. Makes people jump off in buildings because they think they can fly. But you're ambling about the community. Bye. And you're carrying a weapon. Stealing stuff. And here's this other case. Driving down Gulfway Drive at 80 miles an hour. Gulfway Drive. One of the major arteries in Port Arthur. Complete and total irresponsibility here in these two cases. You're just free falling. The rules don't apply to you. And everybody else is at risk. How people didn't get killed at 80 miles an hour down Gulfway Drive is amazing. What else?
Your Honor, I would just add that if Mr. Green is placed on probation, that the court could order a drug patch. The drop program could be initiated. And for those reasons, we would ask that he be placed on deferred probation for both of these cases.
What's they say?
Your Honor, just to reiterate some of the things the court's already mentioned, in the PSI included, which we'd ask to take judicial notice of, it's in the court's record, that he does say taking PCP, voluntary intoxication, is never an offense, as the court knows. Also, on top of being if diagnosed schizophrenic, can react with his medication, and with a person who does have schizophrenia, taking PCP is doubled that. So we don't know what will happen. Obviously, illicit drug use along with prescribed drug use, especially with the kind of medicine that a person with schizophrenia was prescribed, is a danger. Now, when it comes to the crimes to which this defendant has a history of, armed robbery is exactly the crime in which he was placed on probation in Louisiana on, and he was unable to complete a probation. He was unsatisfactory discharged. That's exactly the crime in which we have here today. In one of these cases, it's ag robbery, armed robbery. And the defendant went through, he pointed a gun at a bus driver, at fan driver, excuse me. At probation is out of the question. It
It's
doesn't
an
matter.
ambulance driver.
Yes,
It was an ambulance
Dating.
that he's, yeah, which prevented that method from being in service to help others who
Correct.
who would be in need.
therefore the state intention is probation. This is not a good candidate for probation. Only TDC time and state arrest.
Anything else you'd like to say, sir?
I ain't nobody perfect, but at the end of the day, you know, I do apologize dearly. No matter what the situation is and what outcome of it, I still apologize. But at the end of the day, you know, I've been in your facility for 15 months with no write-ups and nothing. I abide by all rules and help rehabilitate myself, get my own self-help and everything else. You know, and just on a day-to-day basis, I take it one day at a time, one step at a time. I'm not saying that, you know, what I did was right and that I should be patted on the back for it or anything.
But should you not be punished?
I'm not saying that either, you know.
Okay, you should be. I mean, that's the way the rules of law work. When we commit a crime, we're subject to punishment for good reasons. Because people have been, it's not victimless. People have been, their lives have changed the rest of their life. You point a gun at somebody and threaten them, remember that their whole life. How do you fix that? You know, how do you undo that? You can't. You're not supposed to do it because it's so serious. But then you've got to pay a price. And you're looking here up to life imprisonment. If nothing further, I'm going to find in each of these cases, sir, you, Gregory Troy, yeah, help me out here. This is one of these things that was kind of odd because
The name.
yeah, the name.
Can you explain?
It was Gregory Green at first, and it's still Gregory Green, but when my father got out, he just added the Gray to it. My father's a Gray. I left him with Gregory Troy Green. My father just added the Gray to it. So it's Gregory Troy Green Gray.
But did he ever adopt you? I mean, were you adopted?
My mom was married to Green. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when my father got out, he put a 11 in the Gray.
Oh, that was weird.
Yes, Gregory Troy Green.
didn't follow that
Gregory
stuff.
Troy Green. Gray on my ID and my social.
It's
Okay.
really should be gray.
Gray, but they never took the green off.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But your birth certificate shows Gregory Troy Green.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In each of these cases, sir, you have pleaded guilty voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1 in each case to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in each of these cases. In 22-41054, I am following this agreement of whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 10 years in prison. You are hereby sentenced in this case after being found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the first-degree felony of aggravated robbery. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 10 years. There will be an affirmative finding that a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, was used in the commission of that offense. In 23 CR 577, the third-degree felony of evading arrest or detention, you have been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in that case. I am following the agreement there. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 10 years. In that case, those sentences shall run concurrently together. You will be given credit for all time you have served in custody in these cases.